Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Clovis School Board. Will the clerk please call it?
Of course. President Cordova,
Here.
Vice President Hamilton,
Here.
Secretary Martin, Member Osborne,
Here.
Member Weigel.
Here. Okay, we do have a quorum. You would please join me, Ms. Osborne, lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, as the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, Ms. Osborne. Okay, now we'll move down and consider the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Hamilton,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Weigel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now let's consider the approval of the agenda, tonight's agenda.
I move to approve the agenda for tonight, 3/24/2026.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Osborne,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Hamilton. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, consent agenda. Any questions on the?
I have no
consent?
questions, Mr.
I
President.
didn't have any questions.
There are no questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as is.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Weigel,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Ms. Renee, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to invite Ms. Williams up for her update from Cannon.
Good evening, Board Superintendent. I don't have anything new, just to reiterate everything I say all the time. Tudos, making sure we're getting as many teachers signed up for May 30th. We have STEM days that are April 29th and 30th, and we're trying to get as many classes. Last year, we had 1,250 kids for 2 days, so we're trying to get at least that number again. So kids have opportunity to go through, I think we had 45 STEM stations last year. They'll be really good this year. And then I have 2 of the 3 field trips we had to reschedule, already have them on the books and ready to go. And we are just trucking to support you to the end of the school year. And then in the summer, we can start planning for next year. We're excited about everything that you guys have going on and just being here and being a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, and I believe our student representative is out playing golf tonight, so I don't think she'll be here unless Ms. Summers, do we have anyone else? No. Okay, thank you. All right, then we'll move into a couple of trip requests, and I think you can take these together, but I do want to acknowledge both of the schools. We have our Gaddis FCCLA. The Gaddis group, do you all want to stand up? And you're welcome to come up to the podium as well if you've got anything that you want to offer up to the board. And then we also have our Yucca FCCLA. They're both requesting to attend the State Leadership Conference at the end of this month, March 29th, returning on April 1st. And I just want to say how great it is to see this representation. As you all know, we're really trying to grow our programs that kids participate in the high school. And so it takes this participation at our middle school. So we're really glad to see all of you here. So if there's anything that you all wanted to offer or questions, the details of their trips are here in their trip requests.
What will you guys be doing? It's your event.
Students compete in the category that they can do in that regional. So we've got some students competing in Say Yes to SBS, food innovation, focus on children, job interview. Out of the 22 kids that we took to regionals, all qualified for state.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing you like about being in this organization? The kids have to answer one from each group. One from each group. What's the best thing you like about being in FCCLA?
I express myself like I am right now, public speaking. Part of FCCLA, and it's sort of the
Thank you.
That's good.
Nice.
I'd like to introduce Madison as well. She's one of two who are running for state officer. So at the middle school level, that's a pretty big deal. And then she is competing in interior design. What are you guys competing in? Interior design. And focus on
Right on.
Thank you.
Well, good, good. That's great to hear. And this is a consideration item. If
Yes.
there are any more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll
Go
make,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Mr. Hamilton,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Weigel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Well, good luck.
Have fun,
Good
you
luck.
guys.
Yes, have fun.
Make us proud.
That's right.
You guys are stepping out. We'll let you go ahead and exit. My next item, I just wanted to give you some really high level overview of some of the pertinent legislation from this session, especially because we're going into budget season and a couple of these have impact on budget. The first of those is House Bill 47, which has to do with the ratio that districts provide for benefits for health insurance. So this one takes effect July 1st of this year. And so now all educators will have 80% of their health insurance premium covered by the district. Prior to this legislation, it was for those employees who are earning $50,000 or less. And so I asked Ms. Nieto to put together some data just so you would have an idea of that. Currently, we have 188 of our employees who earn below that 50,000 threshold. So we expect the increase there just with the natural increase. Is that correct, Ms. Nieto? That's about a $400,000 increase. So we're looking at a almost 10% increase. Then in the 50 to 60K range, we have 105 employees that take those benefits from the district. So that's about a $250,000 increase. And then earners above the 60,000 who currently take the benefit is 276, which is about a $750,000 increase. And so all together, if no one else, if we don't increase how many employees who are taking that benefit, we're looking at about a $2 million increase in the budget. There is funding through House Bill 2. We're not confident that it's going to cover that entire increase that we're now responsible for. And when I talk to you in a minute about what came through the legislation specific to educator salaries, just keep in mind what this increase is going to cost the district, but also to know that this isn't a new benefit for those earning below 50,000. So it will be a new benefit or a reduction in it will increase their net take home basically for those higher earners. And so that's just something to keep in mind when we talk about what came through the session with regard to educator increases. So before I go any further into other legislation, are there questions that you want to pose? And I want to invite Ms. Nieto to respond. She attended the budget conference last week and may have a little bit more insight if you have questions about this specific bill.
Anybody?
I was a little curious when you mentioned House Bill 2 will cover most of it, some of it. Are we still waiting to find out exactly what percentage that's going to be, or?
They've built into our SCG funding, it's about 73 million. But that's statewide.
Yeah,
So I don't know, I haven't given the
What coverage?
breakdown of our coverage.
I see. Okay.
An experience would tell us it won't be enough. Right, I mean,
Yes, I anticipate more staff requesting to make the insurance and open enrollment in October.
So that would hit in January.
Yes.
And we'll know our breakdown later this spring or from what we're getting.
Yes, yes.
It's a mandate, so it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
We-
Exactly. We have to make it happen. And so as we begin making decisions, keeping in mind the non-passage of the tax earlier, we're looking right now at just across the board, at least 2% decreases just in department budgets and site budgets and so forth. So that's how we're entering the budget planning that we'll be bringing to you next month. And so we're going to be really interested to hear from you tonight about your wishes with regard to the increase. And I can go ahead and just jump to that. So House Bill 2 didn't include, that's typically where we see the language on increase for educators, but there was a tax package that was created that is intended to provide a 1% increase for educators. And this year, the governor did not veto the average language. So that means that across all span of the salary schedule, we just have to be able to demonstrate that there was a 1% average increase. So that gives you an opportunity and a burden as a board to determine if there are pockets of employees that you would rather, target with increases, knowing that the higher earners are going to have more of an impact from this 80-20 split with their net pay. We can run some different scenarios and bring those to you, but I really just wanted to put that in front of you and get your initial impressions so that Ms. Neathel has a little bit of direction as we start building those salary schedules. There was a time where we were trying to increase level 3 teacher pay because of the impact that has on the funding that we receive and just attracting those more experienced teachers. And then we went through the era where we just needed someone to fill the seat, but we do want to be competitive with those experienced teachers. And
So about what percent increase? I know it would be an average. So if I'm a 20-year teacher making 70 plus, and I get 80% of my benefits paid, how much of a bump is that for me? What percent of a bump is that for me? Heather, just average. I mean, I'm not like certainly more than 1%, right?
Yes, yeah, because if we look at what a teacher would have insurance come out now, it's about 500 for them a month.
Each pay period,
A month.
a month total.
And that just depends on their level, so they could increase almost 150 to 200.
But if I am an employee that makes 42,000, you already pay 80% of my benefits. And unless I get a 1% increase, I'm getting nothing. Plus my insurance is probably going to go up anyway. So I'm going to be in the hole. I got it. I've been there before myself too. So I understand that pain.
yeah, we try to avoid that situation.
Oh my, it's terrible.
So on the other hand, when she strikes the average language, then we see the top end of our salary schedule mushrooming because
Right.
it's the impact of those higher numbers. And so, your salary schedule can get out of hand as well. So it's been a while since we've had the average language remain.
Well, and it is a hard decision because you want all employees to feel valued,
Mhm.
but it also is numbers. So thank you. Anybody else?
Anybody else have any comments?
Questions on it?
Once you have thoughts, send them our way. We'll be building draft schedules and
But my personal point of view, if you're building schedules, is that those people who are not getting a bump from the insurance have to get the 1%. The people above that are going to be getting a big bump from the insurance, maybe not. I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying
Yeah.
that, but there's only this much, so that's me personally. I don't know how my colleagues feel.
Well, that's a hard decision because where do you draw the line? And then again, we don't want people to think they're not valued here.
Absolutely, yeah.
you know, and
The big
it's,
bump.
it's,
Cause right now we're paying 65% if I'm a $70,000 employee or more,
60%.
60%. So
It's a big move.
it is,
way more than 1%.
it's gonna be one that's gonna be really hard, and I think this is a decision, one of those decisions that it doesn't matter. There's gonna be some people that are gonna be okay and some that aren't.
So what I'm hearing is try to keep as much balance in the net gain.
That's my opinion.
I would think so as well, simply because, I mean, everybody should feel like they're valued, you know, and. But again, we just got this much to give.
It's so much easier, Heather, when we can just say 1% across the board, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
For us too. I
We'll do
hate it
some
when the
work.
state puts us in this position, you know? And then, because I'm old and I've been here a long time, I know they're not gonna fund it fully. They're gonna say they are, but
The other thing to keep in mind is that we've worked over recent years to create a ladder so that as people rise and move into administrative positions, that stepping into a 12-month position, that, you know, that it makes it enough of a difference for them, and so that there really is a career ladder within the organization as well. And so when you start targeting just one section of that ladder, then that throws off the steps in that ladder as well.
and that's taken us a
so-
long time to achieve.
Yeah, and so all of that has to be considered as well.
We'll
I'm
go
gonna ask
work.
a basic question, just being the new guy at the table. So are we gonna, we'll get a couple different options of scenarios to look at before next meeting?
We'll bring them next month.
Okay.
We'll have a start, right?
Well, start, yeah.
Okay.
We are fortunate this year that we finally have a little bit later deadline for our budget submission. It gives us a little bit more breathing room. In recent years, we've been one of those that has needed to be submitting at some point in April, and so we've got a little bit more room so we can be a little more thoughtful
Okay.
with that.
And then can we also see like the historically what we've done the last 3 or 4 years as well?
I'm sure we could.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then I just want to talk a little bit about Senate Bill 29. This has to do with math requirements for teaching license, but also some expectations beginning in the next year. So they are increasing licensure requirements to 6 hours of mathematics methods for initial licensure, beginning with July of 2028. You know, we've had a focus on literacy, and now we've got this increased focus in math. Then beginning with the 27-28 academic year, and I believe, Carrie, you may know, you may need to correct me if I'm wrong, or Kevin, the screening assessment, we're expecting a new screening assessment for math for K3 to identify students with what's defined as a mathematics difficulty. And it's essentially those who are not performing at grade level according to that screening. We already provide a literacy instructional plan, so this bill requires that will have to occur with regard to math as well. Based on the screening, we'll now be required to notify parents within 30 days of any students who are identified as having a mathematics difficulty. And then subsequent for progress updates over the course of the year. And all of this is really fine and well, and it's good practice and keeping parents informed and targeting instruction. Our concern just comes with teachers having the professional time that they need to manage that communication and those assessments and so forth. And you know, that would be my personal hope, is that we could get back to a point where we can integrate adequate professional time for teachers to answer to these kinds of requirements in real time as the year unfolds.
So it'll be a fall administration so that they get the intervention.
Right. And then that reporting out to parents, basically quarterly. We report to parents on a frequent basis, and but this will be specific to their math performance. And then with regard to literacy instruction, there were just some updates to through Senate Bill 37. A little bit of a shift in the definition for high literacy instructional materials, requiring a strong focus on phonics and mechanics of reading, that it's rooted in the science of reading. Teacher prep programs will be required to provide that structured literacy training, which will be good because when this initially came out, our teachers were having to go through that while they were teaching. We were providing stipends to them. And so if they can come to us equipped with that knowledge and skill set, we'll definitely be ahead. So this also includes student screening, parent notification, progress updates, similar to those that I just described for math. One thing that's new with this is that beginning in the 27-28 year, with this legislation, PED will be assigning certified literacy coaches who will have to have a specific certification, and they will assign those to schools that are performing in the bottom quartile, which again, we all know that coaching for teachers is wonderful. However, our pool for that is typically our more experienced, highly qualified teachers. So we drain those experienced teachers to fill that role. And so, you know, that's the quandary with that. Great intentions, potentially strong outcomes, but we need more highly qualified teachers actually in the classroom. So there's that. And then Ms. Osborne's favorite was the creation of the Office of Special Education. So this just codifies the model that's already in place with a deputy secretary that's appointed by the Secretary of Education. They did work in through kind of negotiation with the superintendents and Charter School Directors Association, quarterly consultation. Hopefully that will be meaningful. And it defined MLSS support for students with dyslexia. And then I was just going to reference in House Bill 2, the 80-20 insurance split. There is an appropriation and that the language for salaries was not included there where it typically is. So, and these bills were dropped into your informational folder as well, just for your reference.
I did notice in the create the Office of Special Ed that now they're gonna want to have a little bit of say over MLSS, which that would be so great. Mhm.
If there are no further questions about that, that's my last item.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Russ. Ms. Nagareel, Academic Services. What do you got for us tonight?
Goodness making, huh?
Good evening, President Corlova, members of the board, and Superintendent Russ. I'd like to introduce Gloria Mendoza. She is going to speak with you this evening on a lot of the changes coming down from the state about graduation requirements and how CMS is aligning to those.
Good evening, President Cordova, members of the board, Superintendent Russ. You should have a document in front of you. I'm going to give you an update to the graduation requirements and know that this impacts our current freshmen and the grades behind them, our future students coming up to high school. And also some of the course alignment adjustments we made as well. And again, this will impact our current freshmen and the future grades coming up. When you look at this document, you can see on the left-hand side, this is our sophomore, junior, and senior graduation requirements, and they will still fulfill these requirements. Nothing will change for them in that category. As for the freshmen and future grades, you can see there are some adjustments, and so I'm going to try to talk you through each of them side by side because there are not some of the changes or some of these content areas don't have any changes. So if you look at English Language Arts, the first one, as you can see, all students 9 through 12 are required to take 4 credits of English. And make just a note underneath each of these, you're going to see something that says or advanced placement or an AP equivalent. So if we have English 1, 2, 3, 4, in English 3, it could be AP Lang, or English 4, it could be AP Lit, and that would still fulfill those graduation requirements. And you'll see that in the other core areas as well. For math, this is where you're going to see some bigger changes. For, of course, our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, they're required to take Algebra 1, 2, Geometry, and an additional math course. As for our current freshmen and future students, they'll be required to take Algebra 1 and geometry and statistics. After that, they have 2 additional math courses that they can choose. And I just want you to note that's highlighted down there. The Public Education Department requires us to offer 2 math courses that they don't have to take for their graduation requirement, but we have to offer it. And those 2 are Modern Algebra 2 and Data Stats and Financial Literacy. If you could, Brandon, would you mind go to the math progression? I just want to show this document to you. This is something that Lee works on, and it's great because it gives us such a huge visual on what the kids can select in math. We have a lot of students who are accelerated in mathematics, and it starts in middle school. And so with this progression, you can see going across all of the different opportunities they have and different types of math they can take that will still fulfill that graduation requirement. And so I just wanted you to have this in your hands because it's a great visual and it's something that you can use as a resource later on. If you don't mind going back to the original document. Again, I just want to make sure that the advanced placement or equivalent will still qualify for the credits for these students who are accelerated and are not taking the Modern Algebra 2 or something else. So as far as science, as you can see, there is no change to that. All students are required to have 3 science credits, and 2 of those 3 credits have to be a lab course. And then social studies, you'll also see here, there's another shift in some of the things that we've done. In our current sophomores, juniors, and seniors take U.S. history at the 9th grade level, world history at the 10th grade level, U.S. government econ at the junior level, and then New Mexico history at the senior level. Well, we made some adjustments. This is in working with our high school, our freshman academy, our high school teachers and principals and our team, and really trying to find a really solid way to align this curriculum a little bit better. And so this is what we came up with. As you can see, there's a credit shift. There was 3.5 for our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, but our current freshmen and future students have to have 4 credits of social studies. And so what our freshmen will be taking next year will be world geography and New Mexico studies. Sophomores will continue with world history. That's completely aligned to English 10. U.S. history has been shifted to the junior level, which is completely aligned to AP U.S. history, which is an upper level course for our upperclassmen. And then our seniors will be taking government and economics. So that was the shift we had made in the course alignment there. As far as electives, you can see our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, they are required to have 8 credits of electives, and our freshmen and future students have 7.5 credits that they're required to take in electives. Note that PE is a requirement for everybody, no matter what, and they can receive their PE credit in a few ways. They can take PE, they can have marching band, JROTC will fulfill that credit, as well as any type of sport that they take. You can see too that health is required. It's a 0.5 credit. This was new this year. Our current 8th graders were required to take the 0.5 credit in health. So we do have a very large amount of 8th graders who will go to high school next year who've already fulfilled this graduation requirements. We're pretty excited about that. Some additional electives that are required. As you can see for our sophomore, juniors, and seniors, it was just 1 CTE course was required, and then they had all the other electives that they could take to fulfill the 8 credit requirement. For our current freshmen and our future students going into high school, they're required 2 LEA menu options, and the LEA are what our district has required them to take. As you can see, it is a menu, so they can do multiple things. So they can have fine arts courses, language other than English. Those are some of our modern languages, Spanish, French, advanced placement or dual credit courses that are not used as a core credit. Workbook-based learning, which is something that we're working on towards the future, and any type of career technical education course. And if you look below that, the CTE completer course, those are when you have the 3 career and technical education courses that are in alignment. For example, say you took business and then marketing and then entrepreneurship, that would be your completer course. And so, and then finally, the last one we have is digital citizenship. And that was a lot of information, and I'm so sorry, but if you have any questions for me, I am happy to answer them.
You have any questions from the board?
Well, just, so really kids only have 5 choices because PE is a choice required and health is required. So really just 5 that they.
I mean, if you look at it that way, if they will complete it.
They don't have
Yes.
a choice about health
Yes,
or,
that is true.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't do that thing.
With the shift in math and social studies, those seem to be the biggest ones. Do we need to hire additional teachers, train separately, or same teacher's gonna plug and play into different classes, or?
No, we should not have to. We should be able to balance them out with the teachers that we have. What'll happen is when the courses are submitted for requests, then we can take those requests and balance the teachers by. At this level, the teachers don't just necessarily teach a full grade level. They may have another class that's a higher level, or they may have 2 grade levels. So we can balance it out. So we shouldn't see any shift or need more staffing for that. But that was a great question.
Yes, that's it.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move over to Mr. Strickland, Employee Services.
President Cordova and members of the board, I do have the employee services report and our open positions report. If you have any questions or comments about those, we're still looking really good for this time of the year.
Are there any questions from the board? Mr. Strickland?
Okay, thank
What
you.
you're doing is working, so great.
You bet. So with that, the next item we have is Mr. Borio is going to come up and talk about the 26-27 calendar, instructional calendar.
President Cordova, Superintendent Russ, members of the board, thank you for allowing me to present to you tonight. Last month when we came, we brought to you the 3 drafts of the instructional calendar that we had sent out to the CMS staff for their input. In that month, we received their input. Draft C was the clear choice. Draft C was the calendar that had the later spring break that also incorporated the Easter holidays. And then part of the feedback that we got during that survey was just some questions about how early our parent-teacher conference day was in September. And so we made an adjustment there as well. So on this final revision that we're submitting to you for consideration, you'll notice that the parent-teacher conference day in September has now been moved back to the 25th. Teachers felt like they needed just a little bit more time to get to know their kids and establish a better baseline academically before holding those parent-teacher conferences. And so we're hoping that additional 2 weeks will give them some of that time to get that done. Other than that, nothing else in that draft had changed. We still have a full week at Thanksgiving, 2 full weeks at Christmas. We will take the later spring break, which will incorporate again the Easter holidays. So we'll give everyone that Monday, the 29th off. We did take 1 additional day off in April just to break up the long stretch from spring break to May and go ahead and give us 1 more 4-day week in there. All of our students will be done on May 20th. That gives all of our staff and faculty 1 full day on the 21st to close out the school year, close up their classrooms, and also allows all of our CHS staff to prepare for graduation while they're still on contract. The only other thing that I want to draw your attention to is just the fact that nothing in the legislation changed this year. The main requirement is that we don't go less hours than we went the year before. So this calendar has the exact same number of days as we had last year, 172 instructional days, 183 contract days for our teachers. The other copy that you have in your packet tonight, the pretty purple one, is just the parent-friendly version that we put on the website for parents and students. It's essentially the same calendar, just without the extra days that teachers need to be paying attention to. It's just the student calendar. So with that, I stand for any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Looks good to me.
I don't think so.
Lots of strategic work, so.
It also provides on the 21st, if we go back to where we have snow in the winter. If we had to use that 21st as a makeup school day, we have that as well because staff are already on contract that day. Not that we want to do that, but
We don't.
Just in case.
That's it.
Looks good.
It is a consideration item.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the calendar for the 2026-2027 school year.
Have a motion by Mr. Hamilton.
I'll second. Third.
Second by Ms. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that
Thank
passes.
you. That's a lot of work. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
My last item is just an update. Back in May of 2025, we received an email from Palms and Associates, and they gave us some really interesting statistics. From 2016 to 2025, there were 138 reports of sexual abuse and misconduct in schools that resulted in $94 million in incurred cost. And so right after that, we got a survey. I brought this to you. Last year, sometime I did it in June of 2025. I think I brought it to you in the July meeting, but it was a sexual, ethical abuse and misconduct compliance questionnaire. And the goal of that was to be at 100% compliance. And so there was a series of questions that we had to answer and show the processes that we use. And then they had a conversation with us and graded us on how we were doing. We did have a couple of application questions that we had to tweak a little bit. And we did have to add fingerprinting for volunteers and contractors. Before that, we were doing a background check and a sexual misconduct check, a sexual registry check, but it wasn't with fingerprints for volunteers and for contractors because it's really expensive. So we have since made a plan, and we've got our volunteers all going through the fingerprint background check, and our contractors are going through that as well. And so we did get 100% compliance on our report. Some of the things that we did on our own were we made the director of Title IX a full-time position and added an investigator. At one point, I got to be the Title IX coordinator along with my other job, and it was quite a bit. So far this year, Heather Woodard has had 631 calls and emails that she's dealt with. Very much justifies the position. The vast majority of them are obviously student to student incidents, because middle school and high school, that this kind of comes with the maturing cycles that they're going through. Out of all those, though, there was only 8 that met the criteria of Title IX sexual harassment. And out of that, only one of those was dismissed. So we take it very seriously. We look into all those concerns. I'm proud of that. In 2026, we did receive a letter saying that we qualified for the premium credit. I was very excited. And so I started asking around about how much that was going to be. And it was a whopping $8,000 credit that will be deducted from our general liability premium. I was a little disappointed with the amount. I really thought it would be something bigger, but you take what you can get. Our deductible, just for the reference on it, our deductible, if there was an actual like sexual battery case, is $400,000 per claim, with a max amount out of pocket for the district for an annual year is $1,600,000. So it's very costly if we have these kind of occurrences, and it really is eye-opening to me, and justifying the steps that we go through with making sure that we're doing all the fingerprinting, that we have a Title IX person that's fully dedicated to that. And a lot of what Heather does is preventative. And so going to schools and helping kids learn a better way to act, making it very clear to employees what the consequences are, and then following up on that. Another little bit of information, $25,000 deductible from NIPSIA if they have to investigate a claim and it's determined to be meritless. So if it comes out good and we were clean, we have a $25,000 deductible on that. If it's determined to have merit, then, and we can't settle for less than $25,000, we're responsible for the rest of that deductible, for the entire deductible. So I just want to kind of give you an overall picture of why we are doing what we're doing and some of the financial consequences. I'm going to stand for any questions on that.
I attended a school board training session about that, and people were outraged because the deductible is based on kind of your size, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
it's significant.
It could be very significant,
Yes.
but to me, it's a call for us to be very proactive
Absolutely.
and to make sure
That's
that we stay on
right.
top of that and we don't take it for granted.
Yep, I agree.
I had a quick question. I think it's awesome that we're being so proactive against it and super important, not only from a financial well-being, being, you know, just as a community as well. When you mentioned the changing the fingerprints and adding that in, ballpark for volunteers, I mean, do we have a cost per volunteer that costs us or?
It's
per year?
$49, $59,
Oh, okay.
so
Yeah,
$59 a piece.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we were able to do it. We had some money that we were able to catch our volunteers up with the expectation that coming in there, we only cover a certain amount. And then if there's more volunteers than that, they're gonna have to cover their own cost. We do have some title money also that we have set aside. So if it's a school that's economically challenged, there's some extra money that they could get extra volunteers with.
Awesome.
But it does cost quite a bit of money, but it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You bet.
All right.
All right.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Strickland. Operational matters, Mr. J.
President Cordova, members of the board, Superintendent Russ. I have with me Mr. Hill, our senior director of operations, and he's going to update each of you on the facilities plan that we put in place a couple of years ago. I think it's critical as we go into the budget process that we examine and we make sure that you guys are positioned in a way that we are looking at our facilities, not only to ensure that we have the correct environment for our kids to learn in, but we're also being responsible at the expense of what it takes to maintain, heat, and cool those facilities. And so really excited about the message that Mr. Hill has for you, the things that we've accomplished over the last few years, as well as what's in front of us in the future. So turn that over to Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. President Cordova, members of the board, Superintendent Russ. Came to you in December with some updates, and so these are things that have occurred since that time. So it's a little bit more extensive than what you see in front of you. The biggest piece for security upgrades, I haven't always given the full picture of what we've been doing, but gym doors across the district, as you know, many of our community members use our gyms for practice of various sorts. And it becomes a little cumbersome for everyone to check out keys, keep track of those keys, and then when they don't come back to track them down. So we've worked diligently about getting card access that way, like your hotel, you can turn it on and turn it off. So it's Tuesday and Thursday or Friday and Monday. And it is a cost to incur if those cards don't come back, but certainly much cheaper than a key blank. And so that's been a big focus. The majority of gyms, if not all of the gyms that are used heavily by community members, that has been accomplished. And going a little further with the card access, the ongoing installation for the front door and then a playground door or an exterior door, single point of egress into a building. So if we're in a lockdown situation, which we've not had thankfully for a while, an adult, someone with a key would have to go out there and manually lock that door. Otherwise it's wide open. Cause some problems with that. First responders can't get in. They do have a set of keys, but we all know they're going to break the glass, shoot the hinges, do those kind of things. But this prevents us and gives us another layer. No one has to physically do anything with the door. But the card access system and our mass notification, whenever we hit our rave button, that is going to lock any door that's card access. Also helps us in security because at 4 o'clock each day, every door that's equipped with card access shuts down. Someone forgets, custodian leaves early, summertime, whatnot. There's a fail safe there. As well as the playground should be a single point of entry. So those doors are locked. We don't have bulletproof fences, right? So if there's a situation they need to run back inside, it's quicker to use our card than try to use our gross motor skills, fine motor skills to stick that key in there if there's a situation. Probably want them running away from campus, but that is the idea behind it. Phase one for that, it's pretty expensive. About 520,000 we spent this year alone on card access as well as security film. Security film is not bulletproof, but it does give people a layer of protection to get to another place, to have a little bit of time if there's a violent act in the office. That was also phase one, office and vestibules in every school. So a little over $500,000 on that this school year. Marshall fire alarm intercom, we're still working through that. We did a little bit of a walkthrough day, punch list, got some deficiencies identified. That's been that school is a very, very large footprint, and there's a lot of strobes and sirens in there. Lincoln Jackson, the portion that we re-roofed there, that final walkthrough was today. Completed that punch list as well as punch list at Marshall. Sandia gym floor at the bottom, that was started during spring break. The demo is complete on the floor, and the new flooring is going in. We're pretty excited about that. LVT, which is stood up in our other facilities very, very well. Cleaning is much easier. Longevity of it is much higher than traditional school flooring, VCT. We've also been working diligently on our utilization of resources. That's what's going to be called in your facility master plan. So that's the heavy lift there has been Student Support and Learning Center, former 9th grade center. Our architectural and engineering plans are complete on that. That's been handed over to a GC to get some pricing. If we move forward, we decide that the pricing is good, everything that we want, that demolition over there to complete the renovation for student support group could start within the next 2 to 4 weeks. We also, before spring break, meeting with our on-call architect to discuss rain tree. That meeting included staff from food service as well as operations. Our initial plan for that facility is the training facility portion and then one culinary kitchen. That's a first phase approach. We have about $5 million. We had about $5 million for renovations for the auditorium, remaining about 3.2, which will be dedicated for Student Support and Learning Center in Raintree. So we know based on our conversations, especially with food service, it's a very needed facility, but those new freezers and coolers alone is a significant lift there. So that's going to have to be a phased approach. The kitchen space is important for that summer food program that's coming around this year, but then as we transition, which we've talked about, but the other piece of that is as we begin the discussions about the remodel and rebuild of Clovis High School, we know that CTE and fine arts is a huge lift for our district. In fine arts, I dug into that a little bit with high school counselor. About almost 45% of our students are involved in some type of fine arts, which is a great problem to have. But when you have to replace or displace 45% of your students when you're under construction, it's a little bit of a problem. So we're working through that, and they're not all in the same class period, but as we all know by the semi that the band uses whenever they go places, that you're not just going to stick that in a closet somewhere. So that's important. The training facility related to the fine arts, how it's related to CTE, because that will give students, pro-start students, culinary students, a place to go during that renovation. So their displacement, there will have to be some busing or some transportation, but they won't be without a kitchen. So that helps us with some space savings. We are in the final stretch for our proposal for the high school. We talked positively because we do believe we're going to be awarded, but we still have to go to PSCOC. That is going to be May 7th in Santa Fe to present. They give us 8 minutes to present 12 slides to ask for $100 million. So we've had these preliminary meetings with them, Mrs. Russ. Some of us from operations, different district leadership, we've had some preliminary meetings, which we feel very good about, but 12 slides in 8 minutes, and they have been pretty stringent about they're going to cut you off on time. So we've been trying to get that information to them. But that presentation is due March 31st. I want to say thank you to Sarah Brooks. She's been phenomenal in helping Mr. Brady and I get that together. So make sure to shout out to her. And then the last piece, before questions, anticipation of that CHS funding, been taking the inventory of the portables and trying to think ahead about the culinary and about the fine arts, CTE alone, just the welding shop, agriculture, that's a big space that they need to do their work. And so thinking ahead about how we are gonna house those people and what that looks like. We still have some work to do in the phasing. As the architect comes online, what classes, what areas are best? We should renovate this part first. We should rebuild this part for safety and flow of the campus. So there's still some conversation about that, but would be remiss to say I'm not concerned about the 250 band students that are in band hall first period and where they're gonna go, but we're working on it. And I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Did you give us a time frame on when
I
we were gonna start?
missed the time start.
Start if they approve it?
The high school.
The high school, I'm sorry.
One more time. Did we miss the deadline?
No, when
Oh.
when would we start theoretically if they?
Planning, my anticipation is we could start planning in the fall,
Fall, okay,
but that I believe that to be a 1.5 year process
okay,
for just the planning.
just the
phase.
planning.
Right.
And lots of input.
And there's a lot of needs that a custodian is just one place. So we use a lot of blue machine scrubbers. That helps on the efficiency of cleaning our facilities. It's better than hand mopping in a lot of ways, but no one anticipated this big blue machine. It's kind of like a custodial Zamboni. There's a lot of space and there's a lot of conversation. And we know, as we talked about earlier, there's this much money.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some give and take
Yeah.
for some things, but we hope to submitted the letter to PSFA for demolition of Cameo. We're out of cycle right now, so we have to wait for that. So that's gonna be $4 million. That's 100% funded by PSFA, PSCOC, but that's another step in order to meet the facility master plan and be good stewards of public money. So that'll be upcoming. I think we can start planning in the fall to stop.
And when will
Rent.
we know if we get the money?
We will know in June.
June.
May 7th. May 7th is the meeting. We'll be notified in June.
Thank you.
When you mentioned the Cameo demolition, you mentioned another cycle. Is that an annual cycle or just?
It changes yearly, just
Could be, okay.
about. There was several years ago that it was open all year round, which was fantastic for us, but the people that had to work on it at PSFA couldn't keep up. So I was actually part of the committee. Hey, what if we go to 2 times per year? Concerned about 2 times per year, but let's try it, understand, and they've stuck with that. So for a district, the 2 times per year, you can't get moving as fast.
Gotcha.
Not
So we
at
wait
all.
at least another 6 months. Bare minimum.
At
Yeah.
least. Yeah.
Just blows my mind. This is a comment, just blows my mind that they only allow you so much time to propose your needs for a district our size. Well, I mean, any district, but you know, a district our size.
In the high
Um,
school?
In a high school, because there's so much to it.
Absolutely.
In construction, I mean, there's so much.
I think it's important that you understand also PSFA did another step that I have not seen them do in my life in the district. They actually sent a group down to tour the facility that we're proposing for the bond project, okay? So preemptively, they have an understanding of what our need is and where we're gonna focus. And so going to the committee to really put the rubber down on the road, that's what this next step is here we are formally asking you for the money. And so they do have some background
Okay,
information.
well, that's,
It's
helpful.
not cold turkey for sure. I appreciate you bringing
They're
that
not
up.
Yeah.
drinking
We-
from a
yeah,
fire
I mean,
hose that day?
They're not. And what's nice is the feedback we've gotten initially is that the district is poised in a very positive position to go forward and get that $100 million worth of funding. They're very impressed with where we are in the process and our readiness to get going and our commitment as a district. And the facility plan that he's presenting to you is a big piece of the why we're in such a good position to be able to go and get that money. So I want to go back to 2 years ago when we came with the facility plan and we went with the outside agency and all those moving pieces that we went through on restructure, realignment, closing of school, redistricting, all of that has paid off for us to come and now get that money going forward for the high school.
It's one of the questions, if it doesn't align to your FMP, that's one of the disqualifiers. You know, around the state, there's not been a lot of new high schools built or remodeled. It's expensive. our on-call architect is also the architect for Carlsbad, and they're paying 100% of theirs. 200 started at 220, they're up to 250 million. It's just it's like gas, right? It's expensive.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any yellow cards or
I have
cards?
no cards.
Okay, so we'll move down to announcements.
Okay, April 3rd, we'll have our spring holiday. All of our campuses and district offices will be closed and we'll reconvene here. I'm not sure this is correct, Gina. April 22nd, I believe it's the 28th, the fourth Tuesday.
Look at that.
April,
That should be the 28th.
That is correct.
Yes.
So April 28th.
Apologies.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay.
28.
April 28th, everybody got it?
Yes.
Okay. So. You got all you have?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now, I will ask for a motion to recess into executive session, excuse me.
I move to recess into executive session pursuant to 10-15-8-7 to discuss pending litigation involving a civil action.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Osborne,
Second.
a second by Mr. Weigel. Will the clerk please call roll?
Yes. President Cordova,
Yes.
Vice President Hamilton,
Yes.
Secretary Martin, Member Osborne.
yes.
Member Weigel.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll move into executive session. Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to reconvene from executive session.
I'll make a motion to reconvene from executive session pursuant to 10-15-IH7, where no actions were taken.
I have a motion by Mr. Weigel,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Hamilton. We have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. President Cordova,
Yes.
Vice President Hamilton,
Yes.
Secretary Martin, Member Osborne. Yes. Member Weigel.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion is carried. Now I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by
second.
Mr. Hamilton, a second by Ms. Osborne. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.